In just a few days, South Africans will head to the polls to elect new national and provincial governments. It's more than time for the 28 million registered voters to make up their minds. In the home straight to the 29th of May, Johannesburg Journal is looking into what the biggest parties nationally have to offer. Every day, we dive into a manifesto. The order in which the different parties are presented was decided by a draw. I'm Julien Trévian, you're watching Manifesto Explained on Johannesburg Journal. Today we focus on the Democratic Alliance. It could get between 20 and 25% of the national vote and retain its place as the official opposition to the ruling ANC. Since 2019, the Blue Party is led by Steenhuisen, a professional politician who started his career in the 90s. The DA has 7 apex priorities: unemployment, the energy and water crises, crime and corruption, service delivery, poverty and inequality, education, and health. The DA wants to create 2 million jobs. It would launch a Youth Employment Opportunity Certificate for unemployed youth to be exempt from the minimum wage. The removal of racial quotas is another important reform of labour laws. The government would assist in formal sector regularisation and expand the zero VAT basket to include more essential food items. Infrastructure investments would double and new international trade partnerships would emerge, notably with the US and EU. The DA would implement a debt ceiling and broaden the tax base instead of creating new taxes. This culture of financial responsibility would spread to state-owned enterprises, and the privatization of some would be considered. Eskom would be unbundled to make way for an open electricity market relying on independent and local power producers. The state would focus on grid infrastructure and creating a prosperous environment for renewable power sources. A once-off tax rebate for rooftop solar and the purchase of surplus power by the grid would encourage prosumers and the development of green energy. Import tariffs on solar panel or battery components would be lowered and the local green industry's expansion prioritized. SA would commit to net zero emissions. The DA also wants water-sensitive cities and citizens. Public-private partnerships would maintain and extend water and flood control infrastructure. The SAPS would work with private security, communities, and a new electronic case management system for more efficiency. Senior management would be streamlined and subject to lifestyle audits. The minister would lose its appointment powers to IPID and the NPA. The devolution of policing powers to competent local governments is also considered. New training for police and healthcare professionals would improve the handling of gender-based violence. Responsible firearm ownership is supported. The Hawks would be dissolved and replaced by a new Chapter 9 anti-corruption agency accountable to Parliament. Cadre deployment would become illegal under a DA government. A pool of experts would appoint public service officials on merit. Lifestyle audits would be generalized across the state. The DA would do away with unnecessary cabinet positions to reduce costs, but the child support grant would exceed the poverty line. The SRD grant would become an unemployment one for active job seekers. Under DA administration, black economic empowerment would be replaced by the UN's Sustainable Development Goals to measure social progress. To deal with malnutrition and hunger, food gardens would be promoted in impoverished communities. The party wants to triple the number of grade 4s that can read for meaning. In the foundational phase, the first 2 hours of each day would be dedicated to literacy skills, an hour to numeracy. Other objectives: internet in all schools, mother tongue education, 210 annual days of learning, and curriculum diversification in the final years of high school. In higher education, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme would become a tier system to ensure its sustainability. The DA opposes the NHI. It prefers to reduce the cost of private healthcare by promoting competition and introducing risk equalization measures. This takes us to the end of this explainer. Thank you for watching. You can support Johannesburg Journal by subscribing and by liking, commenting, and sharing this video. Manifesto Explained will be back tomorrow with a focus on the African National Congress. Until then, Salagatli.